Hey guys, I'm here with Jeremy Talboy. How's it going, Jeremy?
It's always going great. I'm blessed.
Yeah. So North, what does it stand for? NGLM, North Georgia.
North Georgia Landscape Management.
There you go.
That's right.
And you have to have an epic name like that for an epic empire that you're building. 8 figures, big shop. Just wait, just stay tuned. I'll show everything, and we go deep into all why 8 figures might be easier than 6 figures. You definitely have a lot more opportunities, but you have new challenges, not the same ones. So stay tuned.
That's right. Yeah. So for me, it was about taking risk, right? But I tell this story a lot. I was in a different position. A lot of times I've met people at your summit, they're older people, they got kids. It's hard for them to do what I did because they got bills. It's one of those don't quit your day job sort of things. When I started my company, I was fresh out of college. I had super cheap rent back then. I had friends helping me. I had financed all my stuff, but stuff was cheap. I mean, my first Isuzu was like $600 a month, man. I mean, I just bought 3 last week, I guess.
Yeah,
and, they're about $2,000 a week. Or a month, $2,000 a month to finance those things. So anyway,
those are pretty nice.
Yeah, and I had a 3-bedroom house that I rented the other 2 rooms, so my rent was paid for. So I had super cheap rent, and it was paid for. All I had to do was, find a double cheeseburger every day. Right. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have any kids. I had one little dog. Right. So that allowed me to kind of reinvest everything at a much higher pace. That if I was a 45-year-old man that decided maybe I lost my job or I decided to quit and take that risk. Right. That allowed me to really scale much faster, but I kept that mindset the whole time. I was mowing and I was doing everything myself, but then when it was time to, all right, I need to put 2 guys in this truck so that I can go build business and try to get that second truck running, it was very low risk. I didn't have all that overhead and stuff. Yeah. So I was able to give all that revenue to those guys to keep them going and focus on those other things. So that's kind of unique to me. I talk to a lot of people. There are some young dudes that are out there that are still in high school or maybe they're not going to college, and they have the opportunity to do that. Right. But then there's a handful of other people, or most of the other people, that they just don't have that flexibility, and those people are the ones that are going to be stuck. Yeah. In my experience. Yeah. Unless they can go to a bank and get capital. Right. If you can get capital, that's a game changer. Right. And that's my next step is, for 14 years, other than financing equipment and a building and stuff like that, I've never gone to a bank and just got operating capital for the tough times when your cash flows down because people pay late. We have all commercial accounts. Sometimes it's 90 days to get the money. Yeah. And that's 3 months worth of labor that you got to float. So that's my next step is to go down to the bank and get that operating working capital that will, like you saw today. Right. It'll alleviate that. And I don't have to worry about that because the money's there, it's just not there. Right.
Well, and that's, just to that point, like that's why, before I hit record, we were talking about my perception of, and again, I'm not I'm not you, I'm not an 8-figure business owner, but I know tons of 8-figure business owners, and I've picked up a lot of things and heard a lot of things and interviewed a lot of folks. And I just feel like there's a lot of folks stuck between 6 figures and 7 figures, and they don't even know how to get past that point. And a lot of times, a good friend of ours, Jonathan Batoshi, the Lawn Care Millionaire, he says a lot of the things that keeps us in that spot because we're afraid that those 6-figure problems are just going to be worse at 7 figures and beyond. I don't know if you know that, if you feel that or not, but he's saying that that's not true. You just end up with 7-figure problems because once you hit 7 figures, you can pay someone, to put in a position to take care of those 6-figure problems while you focus on continuing growing the business and focus on the new 7-figure problems.
That's right.
And then we dial the notch up again to 8 figures, and now we're at 8-figure problems. Yeah. But in my opinion, 8-figure problems is like a whole nother level, right? Like 8-figure problems, you got a team of people, you've got like intrapreneurs working for you, working with you. You've got an epic team. You're not just looking for crew leaders and an ops manager. I mean, you've got like leads, like division. What do you call them? What like
division managers?
Yeah, division managers. Like all like one's running hardscaping, one's running this. One, like, I mean, you've got all the components, right? Or you're building it. Now you want to get to the financials and all the different things. Like you can't even think that way. People in the 6 figures, they don't even think that way. They're just. I mean, some might have told them that, but it's like so far away for them, they don't even know what they know. So my goal is to really try to have these candid conversations as best as we can to get some of this information out to inspire those folks that want to get out of the truck. You know, some people, they'll have a 7-figure business and they're still out there laying pavers because they love it, and that's fine. But the guys that want to be there's someone local to me, he just hit 7 figures, and he's like, you know, don't get me wrong, it works great and everything, like the mowing lawns and doing landscaping. You know, I love doing mulch or this or that, but like I really don't love it. Like I love the business.
Me too.
I love running and managing and leading the business, not out there digging holes and laying, you know, pavers and laying stripes and all that stuff. So it's different for everybody, right? But I think when you get to that level, you probably have to be more, you know, into the business aspect, unless you just hire everyone to run it for you. But even Jonathan himself, he said at the LCR Summit, he said that he is like the more of the marketing sales guy, and the guy that's in charge, I forgot his name offhand, but he's the CEO and he's the operations
He's the
guy.
talent.
Yeah.
Not that Jonathan's not talented, but it allows Jonathan to step back and know it's in good hands.
He runs the whole thing. He's the operations guy, and the two of them together make a good team. You know, like you know, Jonathan can push and sell and market and grow the business, and the other, and his, you know, his CEO can be like, we need to hold on a second. I need to figure out how we're going to actually execute this, and they work together. So, but those are again 8-figure problems, right? Those are, you know, if we call them problems, those are 8-figure level challenges to keep growing the business. So that's why I feel like, in a way, 8 figures is easier than 6 figures, because the more you make, the more you, if you're doing it right, obviously, and you know your numbers, and you're not losing 8 figures as well. You know, you can try and find the right team to pay the team, because now you have that that's part of the overhead. Like, you're not making 8 figures and you got low overhead and you're super rich and living the dream. Like, you're trying to grow and build the team.
The coolest part about it is when you start leveling up from 6 to 7 to 8, you know, obviously you're marketing yourself on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that stuff, and you're starting to become well known. And like I was saying, in there we go to these networking groups and these networking events, and just 2 years ago nobody knew who I was, and we went to one yesterday, and I mean, at least half of the people knew who I was. And I introduced myself to a guy who, I mean, I kind of knew who he was, and I introduced myself, and he said, I know who you are. And that's super cool. But the point of that is now even the talent out there, the managers, the laborers, all those people are now attracted to you. I mean, I can't tell you how many people walk through that door on a weekly basis saying, are you guys hiring? Right? So talk about a 6-figure problem, labor, big problem for guys. How am I going to grow? How can I pull myself out of the truck and go market and know that I got a good team that I can sell their service to? Because that's what you're doing as a salesperson. You're selling the people in the truck, right? Well, when you start hitting that stuff, or those markers, people start coming to you. And now I have the pick of the litter. So that whole labor pool out there, and like I said, salespeople, managers, and even just general laborers, I mean, they walk in all the time. Whether I'm advertising that I'm hiring or not, and that solves that huge problem, right? So it's super cool.
And even this shop, you know, I was saying to Stuart earlier when he was giving me the whole grand tour, like, my 7-figure friend, he's like, he got a shop, you know, that's very similar size to this, but different layout, not as much office space, things like that, but he doesn't have nearly as many trucks and all that, but he's like, this is a game changer, not only for like space and all that, because he was running out of storage. I think he had like 8 or 9 storage units, and his thing was, as soon as my rent is whatever X amount of thousands of dollars a month, I'm just going to find a shop. Like, I'm not going to keep dumping
repurpose the same amount of money.
I'm not going to keep dumping it. And then he had all the same problems you were saying, like, you know, always raising the rent and complaining about this and that, and he tried to be like the nicest person, and they're in and out, super, you know, like whatever. It didn't matter. But so when he got the shop, that was a game changer. But he also said the other game changer is the quality of my talent has increased, because now I'm like a quote unquote real company.
You're credible.
Right?
It's credibility.
Like, we're not meeting at Starbucks or Panera anymore, you know, like, or just in a parking lot.
And then on Google, you know, you have a business page, so if somebody is looking for a job and they type in landscape companies,
go to an actual
me, it's
physical
like,
business.
Let's go.
Not your house or whatever you put in there to be able to. PO box.
Exactly right.
Right. So again, like I said, 8 figures is easier in ways than 6 figures.
In ways, but you got
I'm not
new
saying
problems.
it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy.
New
right?
problems.
It's just there's levels, right? There's levels to this. So
Yeah.
every level is a new set of challenges.
Yeah, and you have new challenges, but you have a new basket of resources to solve those challenges,
Correct.
right? When you're at 8 figures, all your 7 figures problems have solutions.
Correct.
And now you have new problems, but you have a team and all the resources to tackle them. So
Correct.
And then you build on it. And like
Yeah.
you were talking about earlier about climbing mountains and you know, you climb this mountain and then the next mountain's bigger. But by the time you get to the 4th mountain, you're a very experienced mountain climber.
Yes.
And it is bigger.
And you can get there quicker.
That's exactly right. It's
There
bigger,
you
but now you know
go.
all the tricks, right?
Yes,
and
now
you've
you're
learned from the
getting it.
mistakes. So.
Now you're getting it.
So now you look at it and you're like, damn, that's a huge mountain. But it's like, dude, I got all the gear and let's go.
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you still sweat. It was still hard. You still bumped yourself up, but you
Yeah.
did it quicker,
Yeah.
more efficiently,
Yeah.
and you felt stronger and better
That's
at the
right.
top of that
And, you know,
4th hill.
The craziest part about it is you get to the top of that and you're like, damn, that's a bigger mountain.
Exactly. That's a whole other conversation for another
Yeah,
day.
it's like,
but
damn, every time I get to the top, man,
Yeah.
I'm expecting to
Always
see this
chasing the next
beautiful
mountain.
sunrise, and it's just there's another mountain, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all right. It's awesome. It's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. The sense of accomplishment is unbelievable. But
especially when you look behind you and see all the other mountains that you climbed.
That's
already.
right.
You're like, dang,
That's right.
that's a lot of mountains I
that's
climbed.
right. That's
Yeah,
right. So when you get to that mountain and you look, don't forget to look back and see all the stuff that
There you go.
you've climbed.
There you go. You're like, I broke my leg on that mountain. I broke my finger on that one.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you know,
that'll
you just-
that'll give you all the inspiration you need to just keep on pushing.
It's
So.
all about how you frame the past for your present. So
And I tell my people all the time in our meetings, you know, there's always going to be problems, but we are so good at solving problems. You know, there's not a problem that we've not seen, and it's kind of that same example. You know, don't stress out. Like during the spring and early summer, you know, when people are coming at you from every angle, the commercial maintenance side, when are my bushes getting trimmed?
Right.
You know, when am I getting this proposal?
Right.
It just, the answer to that is just communicate to them. But
Yeah.
the point is I have to tell my team sometimes to calm them down. I know it's a very stressful time, but it doesn't matter how bad or grim or everything looks, we can solve it just one thing at a time. Just go. And that's that whole look back at these mountains that we've climbed. We can do it. And I know this mountain's a little bit bigger, but it's the same, just one thing at a time. We can do it. We have all the resources. We have all the knowledge. We're credible. We can solve it. So
Yeah.
it's a good lesson to learn, and it kind of goes across the whole board.
Absolutely, absolutely. So real quick. So this where we are here, this
Yeah.
shop. This is a fairly you moved in here recently, right?
Yeah, so I've been here about
Still
a
under
year.
construction, right?
Yeah, right. So I moved in a year ago. My old shop got demolished, so we had like a 60-day notice to get out. I found this place, and it was actually for sale, but the previous deals with other people had fallen through, so the owners were ready to kind of settle on a lease with the obligation to purchase. So I took, again, a big risk, and I said, okay, I'll sign it. And they give this big packet to me, and I just know that I put a big chunk of money down, and I got a deadline, and if I don't have financing to buy it by that deadline, I lose that big chunk of money, and I got to move.
Nice.
So it was a big risk, but I signed it, just like a lot of things I do in my business. I trust myself. I have faith in the bigger plan, and I trust my team. So I signed it, and we've been here a year, and we just closed on it 2 weeks ago. So I made it within the deadline, so now I own it, which allows me to customize it. Yeah, thank you very much. It was stressful, but it was awesome at the same
Right.
time. And you know, I give all the credit to my people, because they're the ones that do everything.
Yeah.
That make it happen.
Right.
You know, I make the decisions on what to do with the money, but the money wouldn't be here if it weren't for them producing. So
Right.
I'm super blessed to have the team that I have, and they did a great job, because they knew the whole
Yeah.
situation. They knew the deadline. But what that allows me to do is now I can customize it. I mean, I do need to build out more offices. I mean, we have a huge shop. We have a lot of box trucks. We keep a lot of our equipment on the trucks and lock it up. So this is more for maintenance and overflow and repairs and stuff. And I need more management as we grow. So I can now invest in the building and not invest in somebody else's asset, right?
Yeah, you've got a lot of great office space in there.
Yeah, I just need more. And like the upstairs, there's a lot of room up there, but it's not finished. So I have the ability to pour money into it and customize it the way I need to. We got about 1.5 acres of outdoor storage for all the trucks. We got a little lot in the back for materials, and Yeah, it's awesome. Plus, it bolsters your balance sheet, allows
Yeah.
you to go secure more money, as I was talking about
Exactly.
earlier.
Exactly.
My next move is operating capital, so I can sleep at night. If people are 3 months behind, and there's a little cash crunch because it's hard in the commercial space. You don't get paid. The residential space, as soon as we're done with the project, I get my money. The commercial space, I mean, there's a lot of approval time, and you got to float.
Yeah.
And we're doing larger and larger, again, the 8-figure problems, right?
Right.
We're doing larger and larger.
Exactly.
You do $1 million project and you get a draw every 30 days. I mean, you might put out $200,000 worth of floating money before you even see like $100,000 draw.
Right.
So that's
a
the
whole
next
nother
move.
level.
Right. Yeah. So, but again, it's a big mountain, but we've climbed so many,
Right.
so it's not.
And it's a mountain that so many haven't been able to climb yet, and that are maybe aspiring to. So again, the 8-figure challenges that you're having, being able to buy a building, stroke a check, or a couple signatures. Obviously there's more than that, but the 6-figure folks.
There's more than that.
Yeah, the 6-figure folks don't even have that opportunity. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yet.
That's why. Yeah, yet until they get to that point.
Climbing, yeah.
Right, but that's why I'm saying, like, you don't have access to that at 6 figures. You're just hoping and trying to figure it out, and that's why guys such as yourself that have been through the grind for what, 14 years now?
14 years, yeah.
So, starting with no experience,
Zero.
and now you've just got this empire that you're building, and building a legacy for yourself, for your family, for your team, and I think it's awesome. So
yeah, appreciate that. But again, it all comes down to those people.
to the team, absolutely.
Yeah, and now the thing that it is important about me is I take the risk. I have the faith.
Right, you're not putting the risk on them. Yeah,
that's right. But they handle everything. They're awesome, and I'm super blessed. And again, the talent keeps coming to me. You start vibrating on a certain frequency, and people start getting attracted to you, and then they see the success on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that. So you just get to build even more on top of that foundation of just really talented and awesome people. So,
yeah, awesome.
That's great. So, but yeah, this building is ours now, and that's great. Now it's a 30-year responsibility.
Nice.
But it'll allow you to go get more.
Yeah.
If I need to, for instance, if I want to go down by the airport, which is the south side of Atlanta, because it takes us an hour and a half to get down there, I do have properties down there. We are all over the place. And I'm going to have satellite offices. And this is step one, because I don't want to rent everywhere.
Right.
Right. I mean, you can build a little real estate empire within your business. So now I can, take loans off of this and use this on my balance sheet to go purchase other offices, which one, takes your net worth up, but two, it also helps you build the company and create more efficiency, which creates more profit. So
absolutely,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you real quick, you were at the LCR Summit. Why did you go, and what were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, it was a great little event, so I appreciate you putting it on. But there was a lot of inspirational people there, and I went to learn something. I went to learn from some people that I've looked up to for a long time that I knew that were attending. And then if I could help somebody that's kind of on a lower rung than I am and inspire somebody else, I'm happy to do that. So I wanted to learn from those above me and then pass that knowledge on to anybody that I could help. So that's why I went, and I was able to do that. It was awesome, super awesome. I can't wait for the next one. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, that's epic, because there was solo guys all the way to 8-figure business owners like yourself and Jonathan Potoshnik and many, Marvin Salcido, a whole bunch there.
Marvin's a good guy.
Yeah,
Marvin's
he's
a great guy.
So it was a great group there to help inspire everyone to be inspired and to inspire.
That's
right. So yeah, come to next LCR Summit in October 14th to 15th, the same week of the Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, Monday and Tuesday. See you there. Go to lcrsummit.com or click the link in the episode description.
You won't regret it.
Thank you very much for giving me the time.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate it.